Is Jacob Fowler about to force Ken Hughes into the most consequential decision of his tenure? Choosing between trading for a veteran or handing the keys to a prospect being compared to the greatest goaltender of all time. In Montreal, the goaltender position isn't just a job. It's a calling. It's a sacred responsibility that carries the weight of history and the expectations of an entire province. From Jacques Plante revolutionizing the position with the mask, to Ken Dryden dominating in the 70s, from Patrick Roy's legendary battles to Carey Price's decade of brilliance, the shadow of greatness looms over anyone who puts on the pads at the Bell Center. This season, 2025 to 2026, with Montreal's crease showing alarming cracks and trade rumors circulating daily, a voice of authority has risen to make a proclamation that sounds almost blasphemous if it weren't so hopeful. Former NHL executive and analyst Pierre Maguire declared this week that the solution to Montreal's problems isn't on the trade market. It's a few kilometers away in Laval. His name is Jacob Fowler, and according to Maguire, he's the best goaltending prospect since Martin Brodeur. Let that statement sink in for a moment. Martin Brodeur, the all-time leader in wins and shutouts, a three-time Stanley Cup champion, a player who redefined the goaltender position with his puck-handling ability and consistency over 2 decades. Comparing any young goaltender to Brodeur is usually an invitation to disaster, a setup for inevitable disappointment when the prospect inevitably falls short of impossible expectations. But Pierre Maguire isn't some random blogger throwing out hot takes for clicks. He's a former NHL executive with encyclopedic knowledge of prospects, someone who's been evaluating talent for decades. When he makes a comparison this bold, people listen. The quote is stunning in its confidence and specificity. Jacob Fowler is the best prospect I've seen, and I'm not kidding you, since Marty Brodeur. I've been watching Jacob Fowler since he was 17 years old. They are so similar in terms of their approach to the game. This isn't vague praise about potential or physical tools. This is a direct comparison of playing style and mental approach. Maguire is saying that Fowler doesn't just have talent. He has the instincts, the composure, and the winner's mentality that define Brodeur's Hall of Fame career. The style comparison is what makes this so intriguing. Brodeur wasn't just technically sound. He was a student of the game who anticipated plays before they happened. He challenged shooters. He made the big saves at crucial moments. He had an almost supernatural calm under pressure that allowed him to perform at his best when the stakes were highest. Those are the intangibles that separate good goaltenders from legends, and according to Maguire, Fowler has them. That calm under pressure, that ability to read the game and be in the right position. That's not something you can teach. Either you have it or you don't, and apparently Jacob Fowler has it. But this isn't just hype and hope. Fowler is delivering tangible results at the professional level right now. His statistics with the Laval Rocket this season are genuinely elite. A 9-4 record with 0 overtime losses. A 2.15 goals against average. A .920 save percentage. And 3 shutouts already. Those aren't just good numbers for a prospect. Those are numbers that will be impressive for an established AHL veteran. For a young goaltender in his first professional season, they're extraordinary. The context makes these numbers even more impressive. The American Hockey League is a brutal testing ground for young goaltenders. The competition is fierce. Teams are filled with players desperately trying to prove they belong in the NHL, which means they're shooting with purpose and intensity. The defensive support is inconsistent. The travel is exhausting. For a young goaltender to not just survive, but dominate immediately with a .920 save percentage indicates he's already surpassed this level of competition. He's not learning and developing. He's carrying the team, That's the kind of performance that forces organizations to reconsider their timelines. Kent Hughes and the Canadiens front office find themselves at a strategic crossroads that will define the next decade of the franchise. The original plan was clear and sensible. Fowler was marked to be an option for the 2026 to 2027 season. The idea was to let him cook slowly in the AHL for 1 or 2 full seasons, allowing him to develop without the crushing pressure of NHL expectations. It's a proven development model that's worked for countless goaltenders. But plans change when reality intervenes, and the reality of 2025 is that Montreal's goaltending is struggling and the playoff race is getting difficult. The patience that seemed so wise in July is starting to feel like stubbornness in December. The article poses a critical question. You have to wonder if the Canadiens will give him an opportunity sooner than expected. That's not idle speculation. That's recognizing that organizational timelines mean nothing when a prospect is forcing your hand with performance. If Fowler continues dominating in Laval, while the NHL team struggles, the pressure to call him up will become overwhelming. Fans will demand it. Media will question why the solution is sitting in the minors. And eventually, management will have to make a decision. The alternative is spending assets on a veteran goaltender through trade. Names like John Gibson or Elvis Merzlikins get floated around. These would be Band-Aid solutions, veteran stopgaps who could stabilize a position for a year or 2. But they come at a cost. Draft picks, prospects, future flexibility. Calling up Fowler is free in terms of assets. You're not giving up anything except organizational patience. But it carries risk. If the defense in front of him collapses, if he struggles with the pressure, if the NHL game proves too much too soon, you could damage his confidence and set back his development significantly. This news puts an enormous target on the backs of the current goaltenders. Samuel Montembeault and Caden Primo know that the heir apparent isn't just knocking on the door. He's breaking it down. Every soft goal they allow, every game they lose, the chorus of fans demanding Fowler grows louder. If Pierre Maguire is right and Fowler is the next Brodeur, then every mediocre performance at the NHL level becomes unbearable. The psychological pressure could break the current rotation or force dramatic improvement. Either way, change feels inevitable. The historical parallels are impossible to ignore. Carey Price was called up in 2007 at age 20 and immediately showed he belonged, eventually becoming the franchise cornerstone for over a decade. Patrick Roy was thrown into the fire in 1986 during a playoff run and became a legend. Montreal has a history of trusting young goaltenders when the moment is right. The question is whether this is that moment for Jacob Fowler. Is he ready? Is the team ready? Is the organization willing to bet everything on a prospect, no matter how talented? The comparison to Martin Brodeur creates expectations that are almost impossible to meet. Brodeur is arguably the greatest goaltender in NHL history. Expecting Fowler to reach that level is setting him up for failure. But that's not really what Maguire is saying. He's not predicting Fowler will have Brodeur's career. He's saying Fowler has the same foundational qualities that made Brodeur great. The approach, the instincts, the mentality. Those are the building blocks of excellence. And if Fowler has them, the ceiling is astronomical. The Montreal Canadiens have a franchise-defining decision to make. Ignoring the trade market and betting everything on Jacob Fowler is an audacious move. If he comes up and shines like Price did in 2007, or Roy did in '86, the rebuild ends instantly. The team has its goaltender for the next 15 years. The foundation is set. But if he comes up and struggles, if the pressure crushes him, If the NHL game proves too much too soon, his confidence could be shattered. The organization could set back his development by years. That's the risk, and it's significant. But here's the counter-argument. What if waiting is the bigger risk? What if Fowler is ready right now, and keeping Laval is wasting precious development time? What if the current goaltending situation costs Montreal a playoff spot, and they look back and realize the solution was sitting in the minors the whole time? Sometimes the safe choice is actually the riskiest choice because it means missing the moment when action was required. With comparison to Martin Brodeur circulating in a .920 save percentage in the AHL, it's becoming impossible to keep Jacob Fowler on the bus in Laval. Every game he dominates, every shutout he posts, the pressure to call him up increases. The fans want to see him. The media wants to write about him. And somewhere in the back of Kent Hughes' mind, there's a voice asking whether the future is already here. The Fowler era might begin much sooner than anyone expected, possibly before Christmas. And if Pierre Maguire is right, Montreal might have just found their next goaltending legend. Do you think the Canadiens should call up Fowler now and let him sink or swim? Or is patience the smarter play even if it costs them this season? Would you rather see them trade for a veteran or trust the prospect being compared to Brodeur? Drop your thoughts in the comments and smash that like button if you think Jacob Fowler is about to change everything for the Montreal Canadiens.